So, my name is Melodie Chrislock, and Zan Henson was Public Water Now's volunteer attorney for many years. And the story that I will always remember is about a year and a half ago, he argued our case, all of our case, at the CPUC for at the CPUC to make this decision about a correct water supply and demand estimate that would either justify or nullify the desal plan. And he was arguing this, it was all online, so I sat there this whole week watching. He was arguing this, and he was arguing against Tim O'Halloran, questioning him as a witness. And he kept saying, so wait a minute, are you telling me that, how can you justify, counting the people, the houses, and the land? Explain that to us. And O'Halloran would say, that's just the way our urban water management plan is written. That's the way it is. And Zan would come back and go, no, explain this to me. And he got pretty, and finally, Carmen's attorney goes, argumentative, don't, and Zan stopped and he goes, all right, I'm sorry, I will try to rephrase my question without my incredulous attitude. So thank you, Zan, for all the work you did for Public Water Now over the years.
Okay.
I'd just like to remember Susie Gabri because she was my mentor on collecting signatures. I was really not that clever at it, and she was. She collected thousands of signatures. And what she did that was so clever, she was very soft-spoken. And so she would accost somebody maybe in front of Trader Joe's and say that whatever she said was very low. And they would lean in to hear more. And before you know it, they're signing. Susie was just a lovely lady, and she was from Iran. She came here and just made wonderful things happen. So I just want to remember her.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm pretty loud, right? I'm feeling just super emotional being in this room with all of you. You guys are all my heroes. And there's one that isn't here with us anymore, Juan Martinez. He was a badass, so I have to say that. There was a young Nely, me, trying to run for office back in 2016, thinking that I'm gonna conquer the world, and I get Juan Martinez in my face telling me, we're gonna get you elected, but you better not be a sellout, because I'll remember you and I'm gonna go after you, Nely. Me estás escuchando? And so every time there was a decision that would come to the council, or even during my worst times in the council, I would always hear Juan in the back of my mind like, suck it up, continue, y no te rajes, you have to continue there, and don't be a sellout. So here I am, Juan, I'm not a sellout. For those that don't know me, Nely Martinez.
Another badass and comrade, Gary Karnes. The quotation on our table from Howard Zinn reminds me of Gary being inspired to collect the local interviews for the People's Oral History Project because of Zinn's work. Juan Martinez was involved. I was fortunate to be a part of that. And I would like everyone, rather than to tell a story about Gary, he was a humble guy, powerful man, and a humble man. I would like everyone to just take a minute.
I'll do that.
And think of him. For the 10 seconds, I might say something else about him, because there aren't enough words to capture what a fantastic human being he was.
Thank you for that.
My name is Karen Araujo, and it is Salinas.
Hi, my name's Bob Evans. there are many people on this list that are good troublemakers. Two that come to the top of my mind right off the bat are my former spouse, Barbara Evans, and her mentor, Hebert Olsen. They created a lot of good trouble at the Monterey City Council by, first of all, Hebert helped Barbara figure out how to videotape council meetings. The city council actually had all the equipment already mounted in the council chambers, but they didn't want to use it because they didn't want to go public. So Barbara set up her camera and videotaped the council ongoings, and then we edited those council activities, and she posed questions and answered the questions, and they were run on AMP, which Hebert was a pioneer at AMP. And as a result, the city council finally decided, well, maybe instead of letting Barbara do little bits and pieces with her opinions, we should just turn on the cameras and do the whole thing.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
A lot of times they say, bring the receipts. I brought the receipts. There's a picture of Gary Karnes and Larry on the cover with George and Alvin. We won Measure J that day. And it's not on. Just here. Go right here. Okay, Measure J. So Gary and Larry are on the cover. So George, I wanted to offer this to you. You probably have a copy, but
I may have it somewhere.
I found this. I just moved, so I just
Thank you. Well, this is,
But
okay, quickly.
I have two people that I want to remember, which is David Beech and Chuck Chet. And David Beech was a brilliant scientist, worked up at Stanford. And Chuck Chet was a wonderful engineer, also very bright and gifted. And I was a high school math and science teacher. But the three of us got together and really went after Cal-Am on their science, on what's happening with the groundwater. I learned so much from those guys, and they treated me as an equal. And I just never forget those two guys and the work we did together on Measure J during the EIR process of 2018.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Juan Sanchez of Videographers, and I wanna honor Dred McCall. Those who knew him, he documented pretty much every activity on in the peninsula with his partner in arms right there, Mr. White, and he was. When we first started, when we just an idea, he was there every single time, quietly but with amazing presence. Of course, Jan Black. When I first moved to the peninsula 34 years ago, I didn't know I was gonna find like the most incredible troublemaker that knew every head of state, and then and she has transformed the peninsula, and Carmen Mexicano. Who we just laid to rest a few weeks ago, 41 years old, who was a board member with Palenke Arts, Oaxaqueña, an artist that her form of activism was creating space for Cultura Oaxaqueña and for our little organization to exist. And she literally gave her life. 5 years battling cancer, she could have given up. And I went on.
I'm going to have to pull the shutter.
I'm Janet Brennan. I want to remember Leeper for his creative troublemaking. I think he was the most creative troublemaker on the peninsula. With his mobile library truck and library. Plus, he was the instigator behind a lot of important litigation for the peninsula.
Hi, I'm Mibs McCarthy, and I just want to mention Darby Worth. Darby was my mentor, and I made a conscious decision when I turned some special number of age that I wanted to become an activist because they were the people I admired most. And Darby just took me by the hand and introduced me to everyone, but the person she said I most needed to meet was George Riley.
I don't need to take a lot of time because I wanted to just make sure that Darby Worth's name was mentioned for the creativity that Mibs just mentioned and the work that she did, as well as I'm just going to mention Michael Stamp and Larry Parrish, who I knew growing up as a child, both of them in Carmel Valley, and the work they did. We have big, big, big shoes to fill, and we need to keep marching along in those big footprints.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I'm going to go way back in time and remember Nancy McClintock. She was a feminist, a peacemaker, and she and I did a lot of Take Back the Night rallies and marches together against the right to life people that were trying to take away women's reproductive rights here back in the 80s and 90s. She was a wonderful person. She started the Clothesline Project for women who'd been abused to be able to express what happened to them. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time of women's energy. And I'm very sad to see what's happened today with all of this, but I want to remember all her efforts that she made to make women have a good place in the world. Thank you.
And I have two very quick ones to wrap this up. One is Darby Worth. When I first met her, actually she kind of stopped me in the middle of the street because I was crossing the street at Christopher's, remember Christopher's coffee shop. And so in the middle of the street she said, "What are you doing to help the world?" That's what she started with. But that hooked me because I was not doing much. But anyway, that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to remember is Gordon Smith. Again, we were protesting somewhere in the intersection of Christopher's restaurant. You know, it's what is it? The East Village Coffee Shop. No. So we're yelling at some people, and I think we were doing. I can't remember the issue now. No, it was election integrity. So we were talking about paper ballots versus electronic machines. And so we were yelling something or whatever it was, and he said, and so he's standing right next to me, and some guy yelled back something, derogatory. And he said, "Read a book." I thought, perfect. Okay, so. In honor of those who have passed before, and all those that have been mentioned here, I want to take a silent 1.5 minutes. Silent 1.5 minutes. You can go wherever you want to, but I'm going to time everything, starting now. Okay, that was 1.5 minutes. If you ever think you're limited to 3 minutes at a board meeting, if you ever think you're going to be limited by 3 minutes at a board meeting, Look how long a minute and a half is. It just is really a long time when you're not doing anything. And once you start doing something, time flies. Anyway, I want a round of applause for those who preceded us.